It's been a little while since I sat in front of the big screen, but last night I was back and saw an advanced screening of the upcoming movie The Surfer, so let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back to the video, a brand new movie review. Today I'm talking all about the upcoming movie The Surfer that drops in cinemas across the UK on the 9th of May. I checked it out at an advanced screening last night before I start talking about it. As always, it's just my thoughts, so don't let it dictate whether or not you decide to go and see it. You might see it and feel totally differently to me, and that is okay because movies aren't made to cater for everyone. Without any further ado, let's start talking about it. And I was actually quite intrigued to see this film. I feel like I say that a lot, but I was quite intrigued to see this film just because it looked a bit unique. It looked a bit different, and it's nice to see original films that aren't like massive blockbusters just hit the cinema, and it's sort of those films that you just see if you've got a spare few hours. And yeah, I was quite excited to see this film. However, I just don't think it was as I had expected it to be. I understood the main plot for this film being the fact that it's this guy going back to his childhood beach to surf, and he's basically being told he can't. And the first sort of 20 minutes I got, and I basically got it because of the trailer. The trailer basically tells you the first 20 minutes of the film. And then he basically is turned away, but yet doesn't leave the area. And I almost found the character annoying because I was like, you're making really stupid decisions. And I sort of feel like it was sort of like the whole film could have been avoided if you'd have just left. And then I don't want to spoil what happened, but I feel like I missed something because I just didn't really understand what he was doing, why he was doing that. And I sort of felt like he should have just given up on this idea of surfing at this beach, for goodness sake. You can kind of surf anywhere in Australia, definitely. So I sort of felt like, what are you actually doing? And because of that, because of the fact that I found him annoying, I was questioning his motives and everything that he was doing. I was like, I just don't like you because you're just a bit annoying and you're a bit irritated and you're sort of a bit arrogant, sort of up his own arse. That's the sort of vibe I got from him. And to be totally honest with you, I was sort of nodding off throughout this film because I just really wasn't invested in this guy, just because I was like, what are you doing? And then I sort of came to terms with what he was doing. I was like, right, okay, he's doing this. I kind of can't really do anything about it now. Let's try and follow exactly what he's doing and why he may be doing it. And then he started doing stuff, and I was like, well, I actually have no relevance. Like, I just don't understand the relevance this has to the main storyline. It doesn't make sense. I was utterly confused throughout the entirety of this film. And then obviously Australia's hot. He's getting hungry, he's getting sleep deprived, and he's getting really dehydrated. He starts to hallucinate and all of this sort of stuff, and I was like, I've really not a clue what's going on. And then the ending came about, and I was like, oh right, okay, right. I think it makes sense. And I think I'm on the same wavelength now. I don't understand why, but I've managed to eventually catch up with, I think, why you've stayed, but again, still not certain. And then the ending's just very bizarre. And I'm sort of like, do we know this guy? If you've watched the film, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But the very end of the film, I'm sort of like, do we know this guy? Like, what has he got to do with this group of people? And why is he here? And why has he now suddenly got such confidence? Yeah. I just found the whole film very confusing. Very bizarre is the best word that I could describe this film. I feel like this definitely has its niche, and I feel like this is definitely probably a film for people that like this sort of stuff. I just feel like I may have missed something at the very start of the film, which is why I didn't understand why he stayed and just didn't leave and come back later. It was all a bit mishmash. It was very hard to sort of understand. I wouldn't call it a complex film. I just found it very, just very baffling because I just didn't really get it. But if you are sort of the target audience for those type of films of a bit bizarre, creative, niche type films, then you'll probably enjoy it. For me, it was a one-time watch. I thought the premise was very unique, very ungeneric, very, like I say, unique. Brad, that's why you said unique. I think it's very unique, but I just don't really get the execution of it, I think is the best way for me to describe this film. Very bizarre, very odd. I think Nicolas Cage does a really great job at this film. I'm not going to lie, you know, he does portray this character very well. Although I don't understand the character, I think he did a very good job acting-wise, and I thought he did a very enjoyable performance. But that was about it, really. It's a one-time watch. I'm glad I've seen it, and that is it for me. I kind of walked out the screen just questioning what on earth I'd just watched, because it was a bit all over the place and very bizarre. And on that word that's been the key word of this video, I shall leave that. That's all my thoughts on The Surfer. It's in cinemas across the UK on May 9th. I believe it's already out in the States, so you may be able to stream it at home or get it on physical media over in the States. I believe it came out at the end of 2024. Correct me if I'm wrong, could be totally wrong there, but I believe it is already out in the States. But it's out on the 9th of May here in the UK. And as always, before I wrap this movie review, what do I rate it out of 10? Will it be joining this collection? By the way, I've got a HMV Nipper plush now. I feel like my collection's complete now. But will it be joining the collection? Well, I'm going to give this film a 3 out of 10. Like I say, I think it was an interesting premise, which is why I scored it so highly. I think it has its moments of quality. On the whole, not for me. Will it join the collection? Well, I'll let you gather. But no, it won't be joining this collection when it comes out on DVD in a few months' time. There you go. Like I say, everything I've got to say on The Surfer done in this movie review. Thank you very much for watching. I shall see you in another video, hopefully another movie review very soon.